Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing very well. For today's valued viewer request, we've got new from Goodman. And we've just got a Wikipedia link. So I guess that means check that Wikipedia link out and try and replicate that Wikipedia link. So let's go and have a look. We've got Hainan Island Incident. The Hainan Island Incident occurred on April the 1st, 2001 when a United States Navy EP-3E Ares II signal intelligence aircraft and a People's Liberation Army Navy plan J-8II interceptor fighter jet collided in mid-air, resulting in an international dispute between America and China. Now, I've never heard of this before, and I don't know what happened, but I'm going to make the assumption already that the EP-3 was doing its EW, whatever it does for a living, and I'm going to guess it was intercepted by the J-8II, as happens a lot. You know, you've got Chinese flankers intercepting similar planes, and I guess it tried to do a maneuver, a headbutt or something, and accidentally hit it. I mean, I can't think what else could have possibly happened, but anyway, let's carry on. The EP-3 was operating around 70 miles away from PRC Island, province of Hainan. Wouldn't it be nice to go and check that out quickly as well? Right, so that's quite a big island, but okay. And about 100 miles away from the Chinese military installation in the Paracel Islands when it was intercepted. Oh, there we go, intercepted by two J-8II fighters. A collision between the EP-3 and one of the J-8s caused the death of the Chinese pilot, declared dead after being missing. The EP-3 was forced to make an emergency landing on Hainan. The 24 crew members were detained and interrogated by Chinese authorities until a statement was delivered by the United States government regarding the incident. The exact phrasing of this document was intentionally ambiguous and allowed both countries to save face while defusing potentially volatile situation between military strong regional states. Yeah, you can understand it. I mean, it's clearly going to be a Chinese fault. They did something stupid, obviously, and got in the way of the EP-3. But at the end of the day, the Chinese had the Americans, whatever it was, the 24 American crew members, essentially hostage. So the America obviously had to be careful what they said. We've got background here, and you can come and read about this. I'll put the link in the video description. The EP-3, hull number 156511, assigned to Fleet Air Reconnaissance Squadron 1, VQ-1 World Watchers, had taken off as mission Papa Romeo 32 from Kadena Air Base in Okinawa, Japan, at about 09:15 local time, toward the end of the EP-3 6-hour ELINT, so electrical, information intelligence collection mission. Two Chinese J-8IIs from Lingxi Airfield on the Chinese island of Hainan approached the EP-3 as it flew at 22,000 feet and 180 knots. I'm surprised that thing there could fly at 180 knots. In fact, that might even be something to do with what caused this problem. On a heading of 110, about 70 miles away from the island. One of the J-8s, that number there, piloted by Lieutenant Commander Wang Wei, made two close passes of the EP-3. On the third pass, it collided with the larger aircraft. The J-8 broke into two pieces. The EP-3's radome detached completely, and its number one outer left propeller was severely damaged. Airspeed and altitude data were lost, the aircraft depressurized, and an antenna became wrapped around the tailplane. The J-8's tail fin struck the EP-3's left aileron, forcing it fully upright. Wow. And causing the US aircraft to roll to the left 3 to 4 times its normal maximum rate. Well, can you imagine that? Your aileron getting stuck on full deflection. The impact sent the EP-3 into a 30-degree dive and a bank angle of 130 degrees, which is right over and 40 degrees over again. Almost inverted, it dropped to 8,000 feet in 30 seconds and fell another 6,000 feet before the pilot, Lieutenant Shane Osborne, got the EP-3's wings level and nose up. In a September 2003 article in Naval Aviation News, Osborne said that once he regained control of the aircraft, he called the crew to prepare to bail out. 24 people bailing out, crazy. He then managed to control the aircraft descent by using emergency power on the working engine such that an emergency landing on Hainan became a possibility. For the next 26 minutes, the crew of the EP-3 carried out an emergency plan which included destroying sensitive items on board the aircraft, such as electronic equipment related to intelligence gathering, documents and data. Part of this plan involved pouring freshly brewed coffee into disk drives and motherboards. Pretty sure that won't do the job, but okay. The crew had not been formally trained on how to destroy sensitive documents and equipment, and as a result had to improvise. Really, that wouldn't be the first thing on my mind. It shows that they're dedicated people. You know, if that thing was doing what they said, I don't think I would be worrying about my hard drive. The EP-3 made an unauthorized landing at Lingshui airfield after at least 15 distress signals had gone unanswered. What a surprise. With the emergency code selected on the transponder, it landed at 170 knots, which I'm guessing is very fast for that type of plane, with no flaps, no trim, and a damaged left elevator weighing 50 tons. Wow, so that must have been... Luckily, it was a long military air runway, I suppose, and it could land so fast. Following the collision, the failure of the nose cone had disabled number 3 inner right engine, and the number 1 propeller could not be feathered, leading to increased drag on that side. So, your problem. There was no working airspeed indicator, so that's why I guess why they had to land fast just to make sure, or altimeter. I'm guessing it was VFR. And Osborne used full right aileron during the landing. God, that must be absolutely terrifying. Literally terrifying. I don't think I could have done that. The surviving Chinese interceptor had landed there 10 minutes earlier. Lieutenant Commander Wang was seen to eject after the collision, but Pentagon said that the damage to the underside of the EP-3 could mean that the cockpit of the Chinese fighter was crushed, making it impossible for the pilot to survive. Wang's body was never recovered, and he was declared dead. Very sad. And cause of the collision. Both the cause of the collision and assignment of blame were disputed. How could you dispute that? You know, as the EP-3 made a charge at one of the J-8IIs, it's not that likely. The US government claimed that the Chinese jet bumped the wing of the larger, slower and less maneuverable EP-3 after returning to US soil. The pilot of the EP-3, Shane Osborne, was allowed to make a brief statement in which he said that the EP-3 was on autopilot and straight and level flight at the time of collision. He stated that he was just guarding the autopilot in his interview with Frontline. The US Navy released video footage from the previous mission which revealed that American reconnaissance crews had previously been intercepted by the same aircraft. They must have got the tail number. Based on the account of Wang Wei's wingman, the Chinese government stated that the American aircraft veered at a wide angle towards Chinese, in the process ramming this claim cannot be verified since the Chinese government did not release any data from the flight recorders. I mean, look, I'm not biased. I don't, I don't particularly care. You know, I'm English. You know, China. I guess I'm more related to USA, but you know, I just don't really care either way. But fast-moving fighter, fast-moving aggressive intercept fighter versus massive, essentially airliner, it's going to be the fighter's fault every single time. It's just, you know, it's a no-brainer. And there was two XB-7, you know, this amazing jet I'm sure you're aware of, 2 of them ever made, and one of them was crashed into by its own F-104. And the guy didn't survive, but I think it was because it was some kind of aerodynamic effect that sucked this guy in. So this is a massive jet causing a vast wake, and just think how many, you know, pressure differentials and, you know, big effect it's having with its wake. And this tiny little gnat, but a you know, comparison size and weight, just got sucked in and sucked into it. I don't think you get this in DCS per se, but you know, it obviously happens in real life. And hit the tail, and even though his closing velocity was very slow, for reasons that I don't understand, because these two guys were still going very fast, even not in relation to each other, the damage was simply enormous. You know, just this thing. See if we can find the screenshot. I mean, you can just see that it's just obliterated the top of the Valkyrie. It rolled over, obliterated, and just, you know, not atomized, but, you know, it's just exploded. And so my interpretation would be, it's very unlikely that an experienced J-8II just, you know, smashed into it by flying aerobatics. It's possible. He could have been doing one of the headbutt maneuvers we covered in our previous video. But I think he was flying alongside him, trying to get really close to say, hey, I'm posturing to show off my fancy military, and got sucked in. And once you get sucked in, there's nothing you can do about it. You're going in. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happened. I'd like to know your thoughts on that. Quick look at the plane. I don't know anything about. The only Shenyang I know is the J-11, which is the Su-27 variant. And this I have never seen before, or at least I don't know of it. Known as a Finback B, I think it was. I've forgotten where I read that. The twin engine. And in terms of looks, I mean, if you cut it there and go backwards, that's a MiG-21. It's a MiG-21 vertical stabilizer. It's a MiG-21 rear stabs. That's a MiG-21 wing. That's a sort of a MiG-21 body, except it splays out because it's got 2 engine nacelles or 2 engines. And forward, that is whatever you want to make of it forward. So I think if we're going to have to reenact this, which I guess you want me to do, MiG-21 is going to have the nearest flight characteristics to this aircraft here. We are in the closest we can get to a J-8II. Our EP-3 equivalent is going to be an AN-26B, which I think is going to fly quite similar to the EP-3. It's going to be flying at 180 knots IAS, as you can see there, so the same speed and the same altitude as he was. And what we're almost certainly going to find, we haven't tried this yet, we're probably going to find that this is just not as clear-cut as it makes out to be in the Wikipedia text. What we're probably going to find is that this type of wing layout that we've got here, the wing loading and whatnot, simply cannot fly at 180 knots with a couple of missiles on, as I'm sure they would have had. And we can start to see why an accident like this can happen, because this is not within the flight regime of this fighter. Are you ready, RC? I'm not sure what 180 knots is in kilometers an hour, so I guess we're just going to have to find out the hard way.
Is he going 100?
He's going 180. Oh, I'm about to overshoot massively. Already, massive problem with this. I'm trying to stall my jet just to get near him. Looks like about 350 kilometers an hour, roughly. Which is right on the edge of stalled, if not installed, of this plane. In fact, I'm pretty sure I am stalling. I'm full burn, and I'm just... Look at that angle of attack. So I'm going to try and get right up to him like he would have done. Try and get a look in his window, which is his job. He's defending Hainan down there, so... Now the real wake of this plane, like we saw with the XB-70, would just tend to suck my plane in. It's not going to do that in this case, because we're a multiplayer here and wake isn't working properly in multiplayer at the moment. But this is extremely precarious manoeuvre to do. So imagine this with the wake suck. It's beyond my skill limit. Or just about on the edge. So you can see if that wake took him in. Whoops. Whoop. Oh, there's a problem. There's a problem. Oh, I'm alive.
Did you stall?
No, I just whacked him. Okay, so your job is to get right alongside so you can look through the portholes and see what the E-Link guys are doing in there. Now you can imagine if that had wake on, RC, you've just got no control over that. If that oscillates, you can see how that could easily get sucked in. And I bet he was right level with the cockpit, trying to, you know, force the guy down or whatever it's trying to do. Sucked in with a wake, boom, no recovery, because you've got no real authority at that kind of speed, or not much. You can see that plane is just not happy. RC's plane it just can't do it.
Too bad. It's for me oscillating.
You've got to remember as well, we're in perfect flying conditions with no turbulence and no wind.
Yeah.
All right, give me a little touring car nudge as I have in real life. Then RC, I think I've made this immortal by accident anyway. Whoops, butterfingers, RC.
I'm alright.
You are alright. Why can't we take any damage? Well, the EP-3 is all...
Oh, I'm not
you're...
okay.
Are you sure about that, RC?
I don't think I've ever seen that kind of thing.
That's cool. That's good modelling. And the guy's off to go and land now. Oh, look, he lost his horizontal stab on the on the port side. So he's got to go and try.
Okay,
you know what?
I did my job.
Oh, I really want to fast forward it to see if he can land it, but I'm not going to bother because it's going to take forever. But anyway, we've got some damage. Well done, RC.
Crash with the last
Very good. Anyway, so I just wanted to point out that things are not always as clear as they first are on paper. I hope you enjoyed that and see you later.